And I think to what we were saying, Phantom, when we looked at this market, if you had just taken kind of all the no's almost, you would have made out okay. I mean, I think at the time, obviously Gaga would have been the big one to get burned on. But we were and I think we were on the no side of Cardi B, so we were 74% right there as well. Yeah, I think I
Mhm.
remember somewhere like that.
Yeah, 10 to 12. Bad Bunny knocked out 14 of them, though. Oh, and then they marked Cardi as a no, even though they played part of that. That's kinda surprising. Party, they played that.
Yeah, I remember that live, like, cause I was on, like, a VC during the halftime stuff, cause I was like, "I'm not gonna know what's going on," so I was just kinda trying to see what others were saying, and someone who was really big on Bad Bunny had called out a couple songs that took so long for people to buy up, like, "Party" after the halftime show, I think was still at, like, 10 cents, and then people started realizing that he played it for a small segment, but
Yeah, there
I
was a
don't know what.
segment where he popped off, like, 4 songs in, like, a minute, and it was kinda hard to tell because they kind of blended together, but Party was one of those. But he didn't. Huh? Yeah, it started with, Yo Perreo Sola, and then he moved to, uh, the one with all the swear words, and then he did Party, and then he did, Voy Llevarte a Perry. So, it was 4 in rapid succession, but he didn't sing any of the song Party. I wonder if that's why. Yeah. Yeah, they it looked like they were thinking that anybody that Bad Bunny crossed path with at some point in his career was gonna appear at the Super Bowl, and it like 40% likelihood. It didn't make much sense.
It
Yeah,
for I mean, for me, it was difficult because this whole thing, I'm like, what do I focus on? And there's just so many, because I was mostly, my strategy going in was like mostly focused on the actual sports markets, because there were so many props, things like that, that I was like, some of these are going to be off. So I didn't look closely enough at the halftime, and I'm not knowledgeable enough on like these performers, who they are, what songs they play, that I couldn't like, uh, make gut quick decisions, I guess, to like, play some of these. But I did notice like crazy price movement, obviously on all of these. I mean, even after it had ended.
Yeah, my portfolio was red. I was like 10K off of my all-time high most of the day, and I look, and it's because groups like Grupo Frontera or artists like Cardi B or J Balvin or Daddy Yankee were their prices were just getting out of control. I ended up just paper or diamond handing my way through it. So by the end of the day, I was back at an all-time high. But you do get nervous when you see your portfolio down that much, even though the logic hasn't changed, just because there's always the risk that somebody knows something that you don't. Not on something like this. If I had more confidence on it, I would, but something like this where it could literally be an insider, I don't want to just line their pockets even more. And by before the show, I started imagining like them all, like everybody that Bad Bunny knows, forming a circle, holding hands, jumping around, singing a song or something like that. Like if that happens, I'm just toast.
Eh, which I think would have been like a pretty good ARB to do, almost, because they were trading pretty similarly. Like if you look at Cardi B and I Like It, like, but it's kind of hard, it's obviously like it makes sense in retrospect to take no I Like It, yes Cardi B potentially, but at the time it was like, if Cardi B's there, what else would she perform? Um for me, I took red. I lost just 1,200 on the who will perform market. I originally, the day that, you know, the day that Gaga kind of started spiking. So what had happened was they had issued, my recollection was they'd issued a green box clarification because people knew she was in a commercial. And I think people were wondering, is that commercial going to count? They issued a clarification that the commercial doesn't count. So, you know, we then saw the price and we're like, well, Lady Gaga Fair should be like 90 for no. Like, I mean, at the time we were like, what world would Lady Gaga perform with Bad Bunny? So we started entering like decent positions on no Lady Gaga after the clarification, thinking that like, hey, we're the smart ones here. Some idiots don't realize it's clarified that the commercial doesn't count. Um, I'm glad that I didn't add more to my position, because I think, to Gayton's point of like, when it starts turning south, like knowing not to always keep adding, because that's new information in and of itself. Like if it starts, jumping and maybe telling you that you are at an informational disadvantage. So I was thankful to like, I actually ended up selling out almost all my positions in this market because I just got spooked that I was like, you know what? I don't feel like I have good information here. And I should have held in retrospect at least I had my nose on Cardi B and Travis Scott, because even Travis Scott was trading crazy. I mean, going up to the day, I think he got in the 70s at one point. But I'm just happy to have made it out alive in this one. And I said, look, I know mention markets very well for the NFL, so why don't I put $20,000 there? That's my bread and butter. Maybe I'll stay out of these markets.
And one of the lessons I took from the Drake thing back in December, where the numbers showed him taking third and then the weekend ended up doing so, is like when the weekend's price started spiking and Drake started plunging, your first instinct is like, you check your numbers, you confirm them, and you say, well, somebody's dumber than I am. When it's that close, your first instinct should probably be somebody knows something that I don't. Doesn't mean that you necessarily sell into it, but you probably shouldn't add when there's the danger of somebody just having information that you don't.
Yeah. I did just learn that your mics were fine, but no one could hear me, maybe for the better, for the last 20 minutes. So that's on me. I had the stream on my left. I just wasn't reading the chat. Thank you guys for all saying, I can't hear you, but that's okay. I didn't have much insightful things to say. It's mostly you guys. Thank you. But my thoughts, I can't even summarize them. I did want to talk about, you were talking about the ARB PMT, about maybe going I Like It and Cardi B. My ARB and one that Foster had and other people had were going yes Cardi B on Polymarket and no Cardi B on Kalshi. This was because the rules were a little bit different, and even if they resolved the same, it was still an arbitrage of like 10 cents or something. So you could get Cardi for, let's say, 20, under 50 for yes on Poly, and no for Cardi at under 50 on Kalshi, right? So then if you look at the rules, they did clarify, I think, that it went yes. Yeah, if live and in person includes participation without singing. Okay, now they can barely hear me. I don't really believe CSP. If anyone else wants to confirm that I'm quiet. Anyways, the thing here is live and in person was Poly's rules, very vague, and
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I do think if you're like on both platforms, like opportunities like that are something you should be looking at very closely. I think they happen way more than people consider. I mean, you can even look at the government shutdown that we had two times ago, right? Kalshi went yes, Poly went no because of their timing. So, and I think they traded pretty close to each other all the way up until, the night of, in terms of that government shutdown day. So I think looking at opportunities for double winning resolutions is a huge thing that, without like wrecking it of like a ton of people starting to look there now. I just don't think people put enough lenience in it. There are so many opportunities to where you can get into things at even just a zero money ARB, right? Where you're playing both sides, but you have favorable resolution criteria to get double winning. I mean, I've had that happen at least back in March with like the AI model market. There was something that was just unbelievable where Kalshi would go no on a tie versus Pauly would go yes, and it was like they were trading the same thing. So I think those are like some of the best opportunities you can find right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I had tweeted out I'm looking for a PM terminal that compares Kalshi and Polymarket, because I think those ARBs do exist, and despite rules differences, I think it's valuable to have, if the title's the same, to have both markets on one screen and looking at at both order books and seeing what is possible. Gaten, I don't know, do you do cross-platform stuff anymore?
I'm not on Poly right now until they get a better US product going. So it's not something I have my eye on at all.
Yeah.
Okay. What I will say, I guess, of this like who will perform market, and what I think like the Super Bowl overall that was really interesting is it's like it was such a battle for people, I think, in determining like it was really easy in a lot of spots to just blindly think I'm the smart, sharp person in the scenario, and this is just dumb rec flow, So like, I think that was a challenge for a lot of people in terms of just saying like, am I just in a spot where there's just this kind of dumb money that's just coming in on some artists they like versus am I kind of the sucker that is at this like informational disadvantage and knowing when to keep sizing up on some of these positions like Gaga versus when to say like, okay, obviously I don't know what I'm the one that's the sucker here.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who took pretty significant losses on Gaga No because they continued to size up the day that all the news kind of broke out.
Yeah. Okay, so we can talk about these rules quickly. I don't know what your positions are, if it was a good or a bad resolution. What was it? Article 6.2 is what they called it? 13.1. What did they cite? Yeah, 6.3. Rule 6.3 in the Kalshi universe is to determine the last settled price, I guess, because these rules were contradictory. I had brought it up multiple times. In their Discord, I was playing a bit coy, like, hey, how much do I get for bringing up a rules problem? And they said $25. I said, okay, I'll see you guys in 5 hours. There's no chance I'm saying anything for $25. And chaos did ensue. So the rules here, what did we talk about before, Gayton? We said...
It's that second line in there, right? For the performs, including dancing. And then if you go to the does not constitute, it's so.
Yeah. So these are what? Directly contradictory? Performs means performing including dancing. Does not constitute dancing without singing. That's a bit tough. And then they have this clarification, which I don't know what this means because, yeah, clarification February 5th. For the purpose of this market, qualifying performance requires that the performer appears on stage and is either a scheduled performer or makes a guest appearance. So I don't know if this was another factor or not at all because this is part of the rule summary, but what do you guys think about what ended up happening?
I'm fine with how they resolved it. That doesn't bother me, but they just need to do better with the rules. Like, if you and I can read that and see that it's contradictory, and we can brainstorm scenarios that either aren't covered here or aren't clear how they're resolved, it means that the rules should just be better.
Yep.
Yeah. And I also think in terms of incentives, it's difficult, right? Like, I think like to a participant who, like a market participant who identifies discrepancies like this, why should he not load up, 100K yeses at a penny live during the event if he knows there's going to be these? So it's hard to incentivize people to want to kind of even call these things out, right? Because like a rational actor is going to say, I should instead use this information to kind of buy a lot of cheap shares, right? So I think it's difficult. And I agree with Gayton's point about just tightening up the rules. I think overall, like, I think it was fair how they paid it out using, I mean, maybe last resolving price is somewhat arbitrary versus like a 50-50 payout. But I mean, it's these markets are great to really put it to the test. Cause like, this is a scenario where like when you have smaller markets, like in mentions, when we have disputes, it's not rare for them to pay out both sides. They've done that a lot in the past, but obviously a market like this, where I think 50 million or so is wagered, like they're not going to be able to pay out both sides. So I think it's the best they could have done in terms of paying up both sides, but I agree that, trying to tighten the rules.
Yeah.
And I think the more egregious example from the weekend was the Anthropic one, because that was just a poor market all around. I get what they're trying to do, but then they conflate the concept of a company and a brand and put it into the same market, and it just became a mess. And then when they're like, in the clarification, at first it was all caps, like they're yelling, they're like so upset that people didn't get this. But when the rules, like if you have to go to the PDF and read the rules to find out that it contradicts what the title is, that's just sloppy. They've really got to do better on that.
Yep.
And it's a total feels bad feeling when you're a casual person, you read, will Anthropic, will this brand advertise at the Super Bowl, and then that brand does advertise at the Super Bowl, or that company advertised at the Super Bowl, and it resolves no, that just sucks as an experience.
Yep. And you can see the the volume graph. Barely any volume traded up here. Yeah, sure, volatile, but very little volume. And then once it became a dispute, the volume just completely skyrocketed. Not being signed in
Yeah.
doesn't let me get in further, but yeah, you can see how crazy this is, right?
I think the main issue here was just like the choice of strike, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the market title was always brands, because I think they changed it from last year where there were similar disputes with like OpenAI versus ChatGPT. So I think the main crux of the issue was not making the strike either Claude or Anthropic/Claude. But what I will say was funny about this strike was that, after the clarification was issued, it was pretty clear that this was like a bond for the no side, right? And it was funny because I was joking with a lot of people, because I knew people with more than, I think, 100,000 on no Anthropic once it was in the 80s. And we were joking. I was joking that there's going to be like an Anthropic pylon cam. So we were all watching like 30 minutes before the Super Bowl, they were airing the first Claude ad, and we were just going to watch to confirm that they didn't add any Anthropic language in there. As soon as I saw that, I bought 10K more in the low 80s, and then the price steamed up to the 90s because I think everybody was looking at the same thing. But during the game, I don't know if you caught it, in the first half, they said brought to you by Claude. As soon as I heard that there was some type of in-game ads, which would count for Anthropic, I got completely spooked that I'm like, my fair value of them doing something like that was way, way, way lower. So I actually dumped in the middle of the game. Maybe that was an overreaction for like what I paid at like 85. Because I was like, what if they do something like that? The other last thing I'll say that was really funny was I think a lot of people too were curious, or at least I was, like during the game, was there going to be so much flow coming in when they played the Claude ad on Anthropic? Yes, that the price would get even better. But so many sharps, I think, were obviously knew about Anthropic that it was just, there were such big bid walls that like there was no amount of like rec flow of people going on their phones that was going to buy Anthropic yes to like move the price.
What was your fair value of Anthropic going into it? Because I was at 85, I don't know, like 90 something.
I would have put fair value, I mean, at least 95, maybe closer to like 97. I mean, once you saw that the ad wasn't edited, probably 98 at least. I mean, it's obviously hard to estimate when you get that high, like the tails, but when you saw the ad didn't change, it was extremely high.
What ways could it have lost? Like, what ways were reasonable? Just if the CEO of Anthropic was like, oh, I see Kalshi Market and now I want to put the logo in? Like, is that really that likely?
Yeah, I mean, the reasonable things I thought were they edit the commercial to add some type of Anthropic, either logo or branding somewhere in the commercial,
And
which I thought
why
was.
would they do that? Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's because whenever you get these giant bond positions, right, you start kind of going conspiracy theory, like how could I possibly lose money here? But that was what I thought was like a possibility. And then the other was some type of in-game advertising, which I thought was extremely low.
But Ryan, you do bring up a good point. As these things become more visible, as these types of markets become more visible, it does create an incentive structure that normally isn't there.
Yeah.
So I don't think a company like Anthropic is going to modify their stuff to screw with us, but other companies can, or other people that have, like mention marks is probably the best example because the cost of changing your behavior is zero.
Yeah.
But it's just like as this stuff becomes more widely known, the odds of somebody just messing with us goes higher.
Yep. And on that topic, we could talk about Mark Wahlberg briefly. If I don't know if Gaten, you know much about it, but
This one I did not follow at all. So
PMT, we can talk about this one. Let me get this back up. Okay.
I followed this briefly.
So I didn't know about this until someone market bought 100 grand to 99 for no reason off of Twitter rumors. So, crypto Twitter, gambling Twitter, politics Twitter, like all those Twitter spheres, right? There's another one called the Burnerverse, which is all these like frat guys who have a burner account on Twitter and they post garbage on it. And their little circle started a rumor that some frat guy was dating Ella Wahlberg. I think her name's Ella, right? The daughter of Mark Wahlberg. And she texted him that he would be at the game. So like it's not even worth the airtime, but send a picture for confirmation. I'm not there. Are you at the game? No, I'm driving to Vegas. JK, we are here. I feel bad for lying for everyone. I don't know if this was the one that spiked the market, but just a lot of garbage. If anyone wants free money, my boys.
I think there was also an AI image of Mark Wahlberg there. I think that was what caused the 99 bond, by the way. I think there's some type of AI image going out there of Mark Wahlberg at the event.
Yeah, these are the guys telling you to throw the house on Mark
Wahlberg. I know someone who got 200K no Mark Wahlberg. Maybe it was only 100K at like 1 to 2 cents during the event.
Was it JC or another person?
I don't know who wants to be public or not. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Anyways, there were a couple people who got hundreds of thousands of no's because of some fake rumor that Twitter people tried to go for Kalshi. Like this was on purpose for Kalshi. And yeah, shout out to Mark Wahlberg for the fancy lunch today. I hope you had fun at the Super Bowl. like this is not insider info. This is the opposite of it. People who think they have it. I mean, this is so obviously AI.
But see, this is what makes this all so hard with like Lady Gaga, with all these other things of like identifying real information from just like rumors like this, you know?
Yep. Well, there was that Lady Gaga image from one of those fan accounts that was supposedly a picture of Lady Gaga. I saw it on my feed. But yeah, so this market for Mark Wahlberg was, I think, 80% for yes. Do they show us? It was in the 80s for yes the whole day. And then throughout the game, it went down. But if you were to look closer, there are spikes to 100 just because people fell for it, I guess. I don't think you were in it at all, Gaten, right?
No, and this kind of gets into a gray area where what separates a joke from active illegal market manipulation. And normally this stuff wouldn't matter, but now it does. So it's like, I don't know how this is going to end up. We'll discuss this on the insider trading topic a little later, but it's kind of another flavor of that, where stuff that's normally innocent and just good fun can be extremely costly now. And what's the legal treatment of that?
Yeah, exactly. PMT, I don't know. Did you end up having a no position on here?
I didn't end up having a no position here. I mean, when I look back at this market, what I'm most sad about in terms of how I played it was, you know, yes, there were these big names with like Mark Wahlberg and whatnot, but if you go to some of these other people, like, I mean, obvious ones were like Trump, right? You could buy Trump, I think 95 and get filled with big size, like the day of or day before. I think even during the game, you could buy no Trump at 95. JD, you could get like.
Aren't they supposed to wait for Friday? Why do they resolve now?
So they resolved the ones that they can confirm they were like literally in another location. Like Trump, you can confirm per White House was in Boca during the game. JD, you can confirm he's in Europe. So, but for these, although it'd be great to leave these open and just bond, 99s. But yeah, for me, like JD, Donald were two, and then I think there's even Timothy Chalamet, right, was confirmed to be going to like in LA for something, and he was in the 70s. I was getting filled at 72 before the market, and he was basically confirmed. So, like I said, like I'm just upset that I left a lot of money on the table, expecting there to be crazy opportunities in the sports markets live with all the props. Yeah. But I think that's how this should have been played, was just taking those 70 to 95 cent bonds and just with sizing up.
I can't find Shakira, but that was one that you had tweeted.
Oh, she was in the Perform one. Yeah. Shakira was another great example. She was literally in another country and she was like 90. You could get filled the day of in the 90s. It's
because she has a concert in Ecuador, right? Something like that.
Yeah, Ecuador or something.
I'd be a little concerned about that if Bad Bunny did like a pre-recorded thing that included her. So it wasn't like a 99 center, even knowing she was in a different country. But you're right, it was still underpriced.
Yeah, all of these. There was a lot of free money. I'm always now scared of insiders because of the track record that I've been burned by the last couple months. So it's not like I want to size up too much. I'm still building my confidence again. But yeah, these were all mispriced. Perform, attend. First song, it was a little bit weird. Trent had talked about Chambea. I remember saying that to you. Oh, that's a lock. That's a lock. He performed in WWE 4 years ago or however long ago. He'll do it again. No, obviously not. Tutimi Pregunto was up there. But we can start.
Well,
to,
Monaco,
Yeah,
did you
ahead.
see Monaco, by the way?
20
But that was our
cents.
pick, and Monaco before went all the way up to like 20
Yeah,
cents.
we got it at 5 on stream, right? So not bad.
I didn't get any because as soon as we were talking about it on stream, it went to like 7.
I wonder if Goldie, I know he bought it. I wonder if he sold. Probably
Well,
didn't sell.
did you talk about Jason Kelsey at all? Because that was another huge one. I don't know if you
anything
followed
about
that.
it. Okay, yeah.
Look at the Jason Kelsey graph. This one was crazy. So Jason Kelsey was at the pregame Super Bowl event. So this market, right, they have to be there actually during the game. He was at the pregame on camera, on film, being there. He went all the way up to 94, 95. People were just thinking it was just a matter of getting footage of him confirming he was at the game. Like people thought this was like stupid to be 94. But it turns out someone has access to his, I think it's all public info, but like his plane, and you can track his flight data. And he had flown back a few hours before the game started to like LA or some. So this is actually very, very likely going to go no, because based on the data we have of like flight tracking, he was not at the game. So this one completely flipped. And this was up till yesterday. I mean, this was in the 50s yesterday.
Wow. I didn't know yesterday was at 50. Because I know when I had looked at it, it was already down to 10, 20 cents. It went back up, I guess, or was it always just decreasing?
I think yesterday morning it was like here I was sitting in a call playing like RuneScape or something because I just got my account back, and all these people are talking about Jason Kelsey saying some info, and I'm like, what am I really missing?
Wow.
So should have been loading up some nose.
Yeah, it's just a mess. And next year, I'm like, okay, now I have a plan for next year. I'm gonna book my ticket to LA 2 weeks before. Start putting my ear against the glass of SoFi Stadium. Like that's my plan. Don't no one else do it, please, just me. And that's what I'm gonna do, and get a suite ticket. I'll go in Portnoy's suite and with my binoculars looking at every other suite to figure out who's there. Man, these are wild markets, and I guess next year only more. They're only going to be more volume. Hopefully, barring any
I
problems.
mean, that's the question, right? Like I mean, hopefully, but like I just feel like this was such an incredible opportunity, and who knows next year in terms of like all the market offerings, everything for the Super Bowl. And I think it's also like the confluence of all these new people new to prediction markets. Like, but I think reasonably, yeah, maybe next year will be even a better opportunity.
Well, if it doesn't happen next year, it's going to be as a result of some negative press and negative outcomes for prediction markets, starting with this morning's CNBC interview with Tarek on CNBC. And I don't have to play all of it or even any of it, but basically he was on CNBC this morning. I woke up to the highlights presented by member on Twitter, has now been deleted, that video. Poor guy. But this one was just a lot of pressure about insider trading and what happened in the Super Bowl, who had info, is it material non-public info, does the people who have this info on the set list, do they have any, what do you call it, duty to protect, right? The way that traditionally finance works. I don't know if there's a part that I should play, but I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on what happened here this morning and just in general about insider trading.
Yeah, this was a great interview. The interviewers came very prepared. And the point that they drove home was that what prediction markets like Kalshi do is they take information that is normally non-material and they make it material. And unlike in the finance world where an executive knows that their information is material and they keep it to themselves, Bad Bunny doesn't really care if he tells his best friend that I'm going to open with TD Me Preguntó, and then that best friend tells a bunch of other people. That best friend is under no obligation to keep that information a secret, because from their perspective, it's not material, it's not important financially. We're the ones that make that information important financially. So it's kind of this gray area, and it's a new area where it's material information to us, but it's not, there's no obligation for other people to keep it secret. So what happens? And I don't think Tarek really had a very good answer for that.
Yeah. I can play. I think this was the part that I had watched about. He compared it to the Walmart, counting the amount of people going in and out of Walmart. I'll just play a little bit of it here. I hope the audio works.
Right. If you're an executive at Walmart and have the numbers beforehand and you trade on that, that is inside
I can't hear it.
Material
but
non-public
maybe
information.
the
Other
stream
people
can.
can.
Same exact
You can
rules
read
apply to a regulated exchange like Kalshi, right? So if you did research and you were in SF and you were, running around the stadium to try to get information about what song was going to get played, that's information. It's fair game to trade. If you had access to information that you're not supposed to reveal to the public, material non-public information, you cannot trade on that.
But this is not.
But Tarek,
It's not regulated the same way.
But this is why I wanted to raise the question with you, because most business executives recognize
What they can and can't say.
what's confidential,
Right.
what's not confidential, and therefore they keep it within a very close circle.
exactly what you were saying,
In the context
Gaten,
of
about,
Bad Bunny, for example,
So
the dancer
I'll
may
just
know.
pause it here. Where Tarek says if you're going in and out of Walmart and counting the amount of people going in and out, you can estimate their sales and make a decision based on that, and that's called gathering information. And then he compared it to putting your ear against the wall of Levi Stadium and listening to what's happening there, and that is just information. He doesn't cover the fact that exactly what you say. Traditionally, what a cameraman who's in the stadium at the time preparing for his for the shots, does he have a duty to protect that information? No, not if there wasn't a betting market on it, right? But Kalshi creates that necessity or the duty to protect, or do they? Maybe not. Kalshi has no dog in the fight, right? Previously, they created one, right? So.
Yeah, that's what makes it difficult. Like, why does the cameraman care that we're betting on something that he just told his friend?
Yep.
In the finance world, the executive cares very much about keeping the secret information secret until the point when it's supposed to be made public. That just doesn't apply here.
Yeah. And so I had argued about this with some people before about what is insider trading. And I remember a Matt Levine article from a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, where he said that for it to be insider trading, like in securities law, it's not about fairness to the trader. It's about the duty to protect the company, and like the information that you have would be detrimental to the company if the information were to be let out early. And it's nothing about fairness of the people trading on it. Is that true? I don't really get it as much.
I think in the courtroom that's true, but I think from a broader markets perspective, the reason that rule is in place is that we need liquidity in financial markets. And as soon as we get to a world where the only people making money are the ones with insider information, why would anybody else trade them?
Yep. Someone commented the amount of adverse selection on some of these is scary. How do we avoid it? How do we avoid it? I don't avoid it. Do you?
I mean, I think in terms of avoiding it is it's like, markets like this, I guess, not posting liquidity always if you're like, but yeah, it's difficult. And I think the comment on like how you define it is also obviously difficult of like, in terms of securities law. Obviously I'm no like attorney, but like, I think it's a complicated thing. And I think Gaten's point too about how it's like, you have information that's otherwise not material that now is material. So I think it's a very difficult thing. And it would be cool to see like more maybe legislation, like Mike Seelig has said that he wants to create some type of framework for prediction markets. So hopefully with that, maybe they'll add some, because theoretically CFTC is the one, right, that's supposed to be kind of overseeing this, I guess. So like hopefully they'll add some terminology to define it. I guess my main fear is that, you know, we'd get to a world where things like mention markets can exist under some framework that they write. So that's my fear. And obviously I love mention markets. So, and markets like that, like those are my favorite markets. So that's my fear. And that's why I hope like those obviously stay as green lighted markets, you know, going forward.
And as far as mitigation, just watch the timing. Like everybody should know that prior to the Super Bowl, they do rehearsals, live rehearsals with tons of people in attendance and working on it. So try to get a position before that. And what I ended up doing was when I saw that some of my positions hadn't gone above 50 by Super Bowl day, I just sold them.
Yep.
Because I figured if they're below 50 still, it's because it's not going to happen.
Yeah. So my thought here is that, I mean, Ben Freeman, he had tweeted out the fact that someone had posted on TikTok after the show that they had recorded Lady Gaga singing, and how this was very obviously not insider trading, and this is proof of it. And I know, Gaten, you had replied to it. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Benjamin, was it in the replies? Or maybe he posted it too. He replies so much. Let me see his posts. Where is it here? Okay, let me pull this up. Let's get back on stream here. Transition. All right, so Florispod, Leo shows this. Okay. I'm not 100% sure if this was insider or not, but this was an example of having the information research at least a day early. So they said Thursday. Okay, so 3 days early. So on Thursday, after Thursday, it was pretty much public, at least for most people who might have been there to get this.
Yeah, and I mean, not to go on a tangent, but I think another difficulty here with like monitoring insider trading on prediction markets is if you have different exchanges as well that have different rules for monitoring it. Like at the end of the day, they're kind of one liquidity pool, right? So if one actor goes to one market, all the odds are going to swing. Nobody's going to leave a 30% ARB open between markets. So I think that's another point, that it's like, it has to be unified across every exchange in terms of like the rules, the procedures, and everything, because otherwise, like one exchange, you know, it's naturally going to flow. And then obviously the one person who's just arbing against another exchange isn't trading off insider information, right? He's just trading off, just arbing it off, right? So I think that's another difficulty.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the timestamps here. I know when we were talking in the group with Foster, I had bought No at like 70 cents on the night of the 5th, and it looks like she did the dress rehearsal on the night of the 5th. So in hindsight, yeah, that was not the best. And now I can't be mad anymore because it wasn't insiders, it was just information. And as far as I know, the price before that rules dispute where she had an ad or something, I didn't even see the ad because I'm in Canada, so I didn't even see what was going on. Did she really have a pre-recorded ad that?
Yeah, she had some singing performance ad, and it was like announced before the Super Bowl.
Well, what a way to conflate two separate events and make me think I'm getting an amazing price, whereas actually 2 hours before she did a rehearsal. So that's definitely on me. Damn.
And how crazy, just looking back at this, that Lady Gaga performed. I mean, you have someone who's as A-list as her. I mean, coming off an incredible year as her, for her to like just participate in the Super Bowl and not be a headliner. I mean, it kind of shows, at least for her, that she doesn't really have a big ego, you know, and she's the fact that you're going to like be maybe I'm over reading into it, but like if I was someone as big as Lady Gaga coming off as big of a year as her, to be comfortable just joining in with Bad Bunny, I think she's a pretty good person.
Gaten, did you like the Die with a Smile part of it?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. And just for the record, I think you are as big as Lady Gaga, Joel.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In our world, at least.
I remember, well, just on the topic of the halftime show, I saw some stuff that was like, oh, Die with a Smile's in 6/8 time, and they did the salsa in 4/4. So at least the first part before they actually did the musical segment was a bit like clashed each other. I thought about that a little bit, not the worst in the world, but and then I know you think the halftime show was what, the second best behind Prince, Gaten?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
And like there's things to nitpick like that. And it wasn't so focused on the music. Like when he rattled off those 4 songs in like a minute, you couldn't really get into any of those. But you have to take it for what it is, which is, it's a production. It's a huge performance, and he kind of checked all the boxes. He had a couple of songs that aren't big hits, but do have political messaging that he included.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just loved it overall, but I probably was gonna always love it just because I'm a big fan of the artist.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Lady Gaga killed me, man. Oh, and then yeah, Luana had replied, if someone sees Lady Gaga, that's not MNPI. And then I know you guys talked, has there ever been a Kalshi Insider you didn't doubt was an insider? Oh, brother. And then
I ratioed Ben about 4 times yesterday. I felt a little backwards in.
Yeah. Oh, what was the one last night that I had replied to? It was something about Jeopardy. We need a prediction market on if Kalshi promotes this tweet. PMT, were you instructed not to promote this?
I did not receive no information on this tweet.
Well, I think that this is okay. We can get into government shutdown because someone did ask about it. Gaten's take, because you are the shutdown king. I know you traded last week or 2 weeks ago, and already we're back to another one.
Yeah.
Is this what's going on here?
So this one's a little weird because we're down to one department that's left, which is the Department of Homeland Security. And there's kind of weird incentives right now because the Democrats won't one. I don't think they're going to reach a long-term deal in this week. That's just not going to happen. There's not enough time, and there's just too much to work through. So the question is, are they going to shut down or not? And you're seeing this like a political game being played because the Democrats don't want to pass a short-term continuing resolution unless there's progress being made in the broader negotiation for a long-term solution. So as of yesterday, you're seeing the Republicans play it up like, oh yeah, we're making great progress, we're almost there. When it's not true. They just want to frame it like that so that they can get the CR passed. But then this morning, it seemed like it kind of turned the other way, where the Republicans started to look a lot more negative about it. So maybe they're realizing that their gambit from the previous day wasn't working. And right as of right now, I don't think the votes are there to avoid a shutdown, but I'm not betting on it yet. I'm waiting for more information. The one thing that I am betting on is that they won't fund it for the entire year before the end of the month, because I think they're either going to shut down at the end of the week or they're going to pass a CR at the end of the week. And then the Senate's going to be out. They've got a bunch of guys traveling internationally for a week. So I just don't see how they resolve such a contentious issue in a way to make everybody happy by the end of the month. And that's really the only position I have on it right now.
And at 70%, maybe did you get in a bit earlier? I know an hour ago when we just started the stream, it was 68, now 73.
I got in like 50.
Yeah. And so what's the next like big event, like odds changing event that's going to happen? When's Mike Johnson going to speak? Like what's the next thing?
I'm just watching. I don't really know which way this is going to go, and I don't have enough cash open because it's all in that Judy Shelton market. If I didn't have all my cash locked up, I'd be following it a lot closer and just looking for negotiations to fall apart or to see a clear path to a CR. Like if you start seeing some moderate Democratic senators saying that, okay, we're making enough progress towards the CR, then they can probably avoid a shutdown. But I don't think we have enough information right now to be sure one way or another. So it's a matter of just following the news as it comes in and reacting. So some of these I can predict fairly early on. This is not one of those.
Yeah. For the one 2 weeks ago, I know you had not flip flopped, but swung traded of sorts, right? So you had
Right.
got yes early. Were you part of the yes pump right after the shooting? Was that one of the first things you thought about? I guess
That
can't
was
be
my
one
biggest.
of the first things, but because it was such tragedy. But it was. I know that Lance and Semi they had got on that early. Like that's what a connection to make. Ice shoots, Ice kills someone, and then immediately you go to this market and you're like, wow, okay, this is one of the indirect outcomes of this, right?
Yeah, I think I made about 38,000 on that market, and 15,000 was from that play.
Yeah.
And then another 8,000 was when Thune said that Trump just might not shut it down.
Mhm.
And then the last bunch was just on the vote and knowing that once Johnson put it on the floor, it was going to pass. So there was, it's almost like that market was in phases, and you didn't need to be right at every phase to make money. You just needed to be right on enough of them
Yeah.
to do so. And I think this will probably be similar in that it's gonna look like it's gonna be a shutdown, and then it might not look like it. But I don't know the ultimate resolution of it yet,
Yeah.
so I don't even have a position on that.
Ari in the chat asked if you think about Fed nominee. What you think about it? Will Warsh nominee get sent in soon, or do you think they're waiting till Tillis is wooed?
I think they'll send it soon. Like there's a lot they can still do, like a lot of the research and that type of thing, even if Tillis ultimately doesn't allow the vote. So I would expect it soon. I hope so. I've got like $180,000 locked up in this market, just waiting for that.
This market on Poly, which is this what would resolve the market formally nominated? I guess that's
Yeah, so
what
they've got transmitted to the Senate. So that's really all we're waiting for. I don't think there's practically zero risk of it not being transmitted to the Senate. It's just a matter of timing. And every day that it doesn't get transmitted is another day that I don't have that money available for other trades.
Now, in terms, I know timeline is difficult to predict, but I guess 8 days, 15%, 18 days, 60%. If it's how close are we to getting it done? Is it just a formality, or is there actual barriers that I guess Tillis is blocking this? What is going on really?
I think it's just a formality. Like Tillis can't block the nomination from being sent. That's just something that the executive branch does. But maybe he's influencing their decision making. I haven't really dug into this piece. This is the first time I'm seeing that market, and I probably wouldn't bet on the timing anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just staring at the screen being sad because I don't have the money available.
I think 60% for February 28th is not the best price if we want to get our money back, right? This is not, and I mean, is confirmed the same thing? Are we now like looking at
No,
May?
totally
It matters. That very much matters because Tillis can prevent that from happening.
Yeah. Ari said every day that it doesn't get transmitted is another day for Judy Shelton to win Trump over. Oh, brother.
That's my biggest fear.
Are you on? So you're on Shelton no rather than Warsh yes? Any reason for that, or just I guess tail
so I can pile on. Like I'm back in the line on Dissent or Hassett and Dissent in case somebody wants to buy 1 cent shares there. I haven't had any trades come through, but by being on the no side, I can add those for free if somebody decides to give them to me.
Yeah. That actually does go into what I want to mention our channel sponsor, because I mentioned it at the beginning of the stream, but I guess no one heard me, is stand.trade. And sorry guys, give me 1 second here, because this is a terminal that I use personally, and it's one that we partnered with for HiveMind and Hive Media. So the stream, presented by Stand, and it's one of the Polymarket and Kalshi prediction market terminals, advanced trading terminal for any sort of trading you want to do on both platforms. You can get the trends, whale alerts. You can trade up to 8 markets with the Octobox, and it's something that I use a lot with U.S. strikes. These have resolved now, but when U.S. was striking Iran or the rumors of it, you could have all 8 strikes and trade each strike like within a couple of seconds, get all the strikes all together. So this is something that I used a lot. And now one of the new features I think just got launched this week is copy trading. So I know that I'm a big copy trader of PMT, but a lot of people are counter traders of me. So you can actually copy or counter trade traders on Polymarket. The people with negative P&Ls like Gayton and myself, and the people with positive, you can copy. So I think if we go here, look at my account, Sailor Moon, and then, yeah, you can counter trade me to 50% of whatever I buy. I guess there's some other settings here.
I think you'd be a good copy trade because now you're so due.
I'm a 99 on the due index. Yeah, the P&L used to be what, like 500K, and now it's 200. Not the best outcome, but yeah, you can copy from the best traders, counter the worst, automate everything, and it's not just blind copy trading. There's all this advanced filters here, right?
I definitely think the Octabox looks like I don't know. Anytime I have, because we were talking about this before with Gaten on like, and I've talked to people building stand as well. Like, anything that I ever see on being built that I think is like the most utility is the ability to see multiple order books at once. I mean, any event that I'm trading live, I will frequently have multiple order books open, especially because I'm more of just a top-down person, kind of not a good predictor. I just like to arb stuff off. So yeah, I think things like the Octabox, that's a pretty cool thing to be able to monitor. Like even for sports, I would imagine is like incredibly good.
When you're tracking all these games, all those alt props that we trade, right? So yeah, you have both strikes for Warsh in one place, and it's all the information, just the order book, right? So this is what I like a lot, and I used it for Iran strikes, U.S. strikes Iran. I guess in January that was. Oh God, I remember the insiders there too, screwing with me. But I mean, just on the topic of the copy trade, it's not blind, right? So there's advanced filters here. I know Gayton's a shutdown and a pop culture guy, so I only want to talk about pop culture and politics, right? You control the entries and the exits, the volume filters, the categories, multiple strategies at once. And the best part about this, a lot of people complain about fees. Stand has no fees, 100% free, zero copy trading fees on Stand, zero fees for Polymarket as well. And that's why that I use Stand, I recommend Stand, and I would recommend trying out this pro trading interface. So thank you, Stand.
Ryan, can you copy trade me on culture and politics and fade me on sports?
I think that's exactly what once I fund. So this is a new wallet I just made, but once I fund this wallet, I will do exactly that. I think I need your Polymarket address if you have a secret one that you want to let me know about. But yeah, and I'll put, even if it's just on Kalshi, whenever you have a tweet, I'll have an alert going there and fade you.
If Gayton was serious about growing his X account, he could just turn into Book It with Trent and just post all his sports picks.
More to Mega Max lock of the day.
Like more millionaires than the Powerball has.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so on pop culture, because I guess that's where we're going to copy trade you. I do want to talk a little bit about the music charts. So you had tweeted yesterday about something with Bad Bunny, right? That he's going to be the #1 this year?
Yeah. Oops. I think there's a good chance of that. The things that would have to happen for him not to at this point would be like Taylor releasing an album fairly soon and Bad Bunny not releasing an album. Mm-hmm. And she just released one October, so it's not very likely.
So Drake, was he the leader of that market before or not? I remember that.
No, so this is the global one.
I don't even know where this market is anymore.
Yeah, you're like way back in time.
Wow. Okay, I missed it. But anyways, we can just pull up the market itself. Okay, yeah, there we go. So this was your tweet about it. So yeah, what is happening with this top artist?
So he's crushing it now. He had about a $500 million lead before the Super Bowl. And then like today, he probably picked up another 80 million on her. And this entire month, he's gonna he'll probably finish the month at, I don't know, 1.5 or 2 billion lead. And he'll probably continue to expand that until Taylor releases new music. His baseline numbers have been higher than hers this year, even before the Grammys or the Super Bowl. So she needs to do something to turn that around. And with her album being so recent, I just don't see that happening. So I'm not adding to it at this price, but I am holding what I have.
Yeah. PMT, I know you're scarred from music markets, but anything convince you to come back?
I'm convinced. I mean, I will come back, but if I come back to music markets, it's going to be because I have my own data. The main thing attracting me to music markets is one of my favorite things is bonding, honestly, especially as my ports kind of started to grow a little more. It gets kind of addicting. So that is why I've thought about getting more into music markets is now that, like NFL is ending, which I used to kind of be able to bond things pretty heavily. I need to kind of look for more stuff like that. I have been looking a lot more at I'm getting back into AI markets is kind of the big thing that I've started doing. I used to be in that pretty heavily. So if we want to flip to I'll give out something I really like for AI. It's not a fun play, but if you go to what will be the top AI model this month, this is something I'm bonding right
Gemini
now.
all the time? I'm still going on your Gemini all the time.
No, it's over. That was the craziest.
This
I'm
one.
ruined.
Yeah. All right.
So for
PMT, give it to us.
Look, for this month, if you scroll down, you can go to more. Look at Gemini 3 Pro. So scroll up, Gemini 3 Pro. Okay. You can buy nose right now. You can market buy nose at 94, which by the way is like fair value of Gemini 3 Pro. And again, it's really hard for me to assign fair value when you get this high. So I'm cautioning with that. But fair value of Gemini 3 Pro being the top AI model this month, I would say no here has to be at least 98. And if you want to pull up Ella Marina really quickly, I'll kind of show just a brief thing, I guess, on it. Ella Marina, then go to, it'll take you to leaderboard. If you go to the, I'll have some, you gotta verify you're a human, but go to the leaderboard. So it's kind of interesting because Ella Marina will actually, if you go to text, text. So, perfect. Okay, now click style control in the top right. Click that once.
To turn it
okay,
off.
So Ella Marina is actually going to kind of give you a little bit of a fair value here, which is kind of interesting. So Claude, Opus 4.6 just dropped. So they dropped their first Opus 4.6 a few days ago. You can see it landed, completely defied expectations at 1,500. They dropped 4.6 Thinking yesterday, which is supposed to be a slightly superior model for these types of rankings, and that's at 1,503. So you'll see plus minus 10 under 1,503. So if you if you look at Opus 4.6, right there. So they use 95% confidence intervals. So my understanding of statistics is that there's a 95% chance that Opus 4.6 Thinking's true ranking is 1493 to 1513. So let's now say then the lowest end of that would be that 4.6 Thinking would be 1493, right, for their ELO score. So if you even scroll up,
Foster said to look at the graph here.
Yeah, the graph's kind of perfect. But so look at this. So Gemini 3 Pro, which is the third one there, is 1484 is its 95% confidence interval upper bound, and the 95% lower bound for Opus 4.6 is 1492. So that means there's a 5% chance that that Gemini 3 Pro will come within 9 points. Okay, and you can buy then to jump another 9 points, right? Like that's probably like not even 1%. And you can buy nose on Gemini 3 Pro. I'm getting filled at like 91. I have a huge bond already on it at like 11K, but you can kind of see why this is like a complete virtual bond. Really, the only way I think this could somehow go yes, which again, I don't even view this as above 1% possibility, like this, what I'm describing here, but is if somehow Gemini launched a new model and like kept the name Gemini 3 Pro, but that's just not realistic given how long it's been since they launched Gemini 3 Pro. But Yeah, so I'm bonding no Gemini 3 Pro in the low 90s, but I stopped getting some fills because someone's doing it too. But that's
I just tailed you there, and I'm going to use the money to buy some ibuprofen after that explanation. Good Lord, what was that?
I do understand it. I think my only questions is why is the confidence interval so maybe it's not wide, but why is it +10 or +4 when it's come out a year ago? Why isn't it exactly like why? How often does this change? Is what I'm.
So that's the other thing. So I'm both bonding the weekly and the monthly. So the leaderboards update on an ad hoc basis. So usually they will update it anytime there's a new remarkable thing that's debuting on the leaderboard. But what's important to know is like this doesn't update daily. So they could go a week, they could go 2 weeks. I think unlikely, but I would say the typical frequency is like at least a few days to a week before this even updates. So there's another market that I do have a position in on if you go to best AI model this week. So let's see, best AI model this week. Yeah. Well, not actually. This one is go to the one that's non. Yeah, this one. Because this one's not. This one's specific models. So Opus 4.6 thinking dropped yesterday. It's kind of confusing, but that's a different model than Opus 4.6. I have a position on no Opus 4.6 at about 75. It's now corrected to like 87. So I would not enter at that price, but it's a great example of this resolves in 4 days. Yeah, I think I don't know the exact date, but it's basically resolving this week. There's a Opus 4.6 thinking leads Opus 4.6 by 3 points. In order for Opus 4.6 to go yes, they would have to update it within this week, which is already somewhat unlikely in and of itself, although definitely very possible. But then also 4.6 would have to score considerably higher than thinking, which would kind of be unexpected, but it would have to be pretty significant because it's already a 3-point lead, which isn't unbeatable, but so. And then again, you can see Gemini 3 Pro on the nose. Like there's just like no, like I don't see a world that this could ever go yes for Gemini 3 Pro, especially on a weekly basis. It's just kind of, so I'll maybe eat those 99 shares as we get closer, but otherwise I'd rather keep my money in case other stuff comes up. But that's why I'm getting more into AI. I like.
Well, last week was a crazy market, right? It went from 1 to 100, 1 to 100. You almost got it, or you did get it, or something.
Yeah. I mean, I made 6K off the Claude drop last week, but I should have made 100K if I was a smarter trader. But it's okay.
So this 87, so it's for this week. It's between thinking and regular, and it's a close game, but we don't know if they'll update or not. Is that
yes, and even if they do update it, it's
unlikely
that it will 4.6 will overtake thinking.
Sure.
So you need 2 things to happen for 4.6 to miss. That's why I actually think like the current odds are probably pretty fair. It's probably 85-15, somewhere in that range, maybe 90-10. So I'm not buying more.
This is the one that we're gonna.
Yeah, this is one. Like Gemini 3 Pro is dead. It's not gonna ever be number 1 again. Cool. You just it sounds stupid if you don't follow these markets, but like it's virtually impossible for Gemini 3 Pro to. The only reason I think people are accumulating these shares is because they somehow think Gemini 3 could drop a new model that would like count for this, but this is a buy model market, so a new model would not count for Gemini 3 Pro. But that's the only way I could justify people even paying 5 cents.
Alpha on the Hive stream. That's what we like to see. High signal. Now it's Gaten's turn to give us something. We'll see.
I'll throw some fun ones out there.
Okay, give us something.
So look up Spotify February.
All right. And I love the search function on Kalshi. It's really good.
So let's see. it probably won't even show up. Okay, let's go to that first one.
Okay.
There's 2 of them that are kind of similar. Okay, so Bruno Mars crushed this in January.
Yeah.
And he's at like 134 million right now. And the reason his numbers spiked so much was he dropped a new single on January 9th. And then he's kind of the king of autoplay, so he'll get his, like if you listen to any song or any playlist and it ends, the odds are pretty good the next song they're going to play is Bruno Mars, I Just Might, just because like he gives him a massive discount on how much he gets paid for that. So the wild card here is Bad Bunny, because he's behind by a lot. He's behind by like almost 40 million right now. But the thing is his rate has been going up so much, like at a level we've never seen before. Like I think yesterday he might have picked up 4.7 million new listeners for the month, and those numbers don't just drop to zero the next day. Like it's not like the Super Bowl and then he doesn't add anybody else. They tend to retain some of that. So I'm really watching to see how much of those, how many new listeners Bad Bunny continues to add over the rest of the month, as well as how many Bruno Mars starts to lose. He only lost like 400,000 today, but they're going to be on opposite trajectories, and I have no idea what they're going to look like, if they'll be able to cross, or if Bruno Mars just maintains a huge lead. It's just a fun one to watch. There's a daily data drop that you can update your tracking on and just kind of make a decision each day if you think he's going to get there or not.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. I don't really have a pick right now. I'm out of Bad Bunny and Bruno Mars. I was originally on Bad Bunny, no. I didn't think he'd be able to do as well as he's been doing. And now it's a question of, will he keep up doing as well as he's been doing? And I don't have a real good feed on that either.
Yeah, so I see Bad Bunny at 97 mil and Bruno Mars at 134. That's the number we're looking at for this, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And Bad Bunny's on the rise and Bruno's on the drop. So do they cross in time?
Yeah. So today's drop, how much did Bad Bunny increase by? Because this would have been the most he'll get, right?
Yeah, like 4.7 million today.
So 4 mil today, 57% drop, or 40% drop tomorrow, maybe. So another 3 mil tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's just like, let's see, do I still have my numbers up? So he needs to average 1.79 million per day for the rest of the month.
And 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, how much was he doing? I wish I could get this data up, but I'm not signed into Spotify here. 2 weeks ago, how much would he have averaged a day?
About 1.7 million. Like he had the day before the Super Bowl, he pulled in 2.24 million.
Okay, what about a month before the Super Bowl? What was he gaining?
Nothing. Like he was flat.
Okay.
So it's really all Grammys and Super Bowl, and how much of that will continue. And it's like the market prices are probably fine right now because it's an unprecedented situation. You don't really, like, you can go look at Kendrick, and Kendrick wasn't pulling these numbers last year.
This was
really not comparable. And I think the reason for that is that Bad Bunny, like when Kendrick did it, or Rihanna, or The Weeknd, they were doing a show in front of their normal audience. Like the US is their base audience. Bad Bunny was doing a show in front of somebody that's not his normal audience. So I think that gives him a new ceiling that he didn't have before. So it's kind of uncharted waters for him.
Does Die With a Smile help Bruno Mars because Lady Gaga performed that?
It got a little boost, but not enough to, like, if there's not a lot of people that are listening to Die With a Smile that haven't heard Die With a Smile in the last month, or his new single in the last month. That'd be a pretty unique listener profile. So that's one of them. The other one that's been kind of fun, and it's kind of been all over the place, is there's a market on which songs will be number one on Spotify USA in February. And
which one? Sorry.
So it's which songs will be number one on Spotify.
Oh yeah. I wanted to talk about. Okay, if this is not gonna be. There we go. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So this one's been cool. I mean, it's gonna be Bad Bunny for a while, but like Olivia Dean came so close. Oh, like J. Cole dropped his album and didn't get there.
No. Yeah, last week we talked about Olivia Dean. I was on Langley last week and I won that, right? So
yeah, you did. So that's a good one. But some of these, like, why do people think Morgan Wallen's does he have a single announced?
No.
Is that might be just a straight bond. I think that J. Cole is a straight bond. Like, if he couldn't get it on the day he dropped his album, what's going to make him suddenly get it in the next 18 days?
Yeah. Interesting.
yeah, just a lot of stuff here to look at. And like that Ella Longley, her hit like late last month. I had actually been fading her, and then late last month she just got a surge that put her past Olivia Dean. So I ended up having to take a loss there. But it's just kind of another fun one that is actually predicting. You're predicting what's going to happen the rest of the month, and I think they're going to do this one on a monthly basis.
Ew, predicting?
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
Predicting is dead. It is so dead. It's not even funny anymore. We have another hour to talk about why predicting is dead, and scamming and rugging and insider trading and all of this garbage. That's the new meta. Okay, so enough streaming. Let's get a scam squad assembled. Well, I could mention, after that Cardi B thing, this Easy Eats guy who's a content creator but also on Polymarket, he was complaining a lot about the result of.
Was he on No, right?
He was.
I saw
No.
he reposted Dansky.
So he reposted Dansky, sending screenshots of him crashing out, and I think I replied to this saying like, "Hey man, what we have to do is just assemble a scam squad. There's no reason to play by the rules anymore. It's the Wild West." Where's my
Man, your comments rank that low that you got to scroll into your own.
Would you like to assemble a scam squad? We just have to flood the dispute channels with fake news, guaranteed win. So, Gaten, PMT, if you want to join me and Easy Eats, we can.
Like the Avengers.
Yeah, the Avengers that are a little bit not as good. Anyways, I think we've gone over a bit. My mic wasn't working in the first part. That's why we went over. But thank you guys for joining. That's everything from me. So this was a lot of fun. Let me just get our last screen ready. Yeah. So this was a lot of fun hanging with you guys, and thanks for being guests. PMT, I know Caro is having a speech right now. So you're going to be streaming that. Everyone go watch his stream. And Gaten, when you start your streaming career, I'll shout that out too.
I got a face for radio.
I want to see you on Excel, just showing your Excel screen for 5 hours.
And good luck finding a new sponsor after your ad was on mute today, Ryan.
Oh, God. Okay, Thank you. Have a nice day, guys. And thanks for everyone for watching.
Take care.